Okay, welcome to another Vintage League here. Today we're playing Oops All Spells, but with a little bit of a twist. We're playing the Beseech the Mirror as an additional way of finding either Balustrade Spy or Undercity Informer, but also giving us an option to find Goblin Charbelcher, which is a non-graveyard hate win condition, or to go the Tendrils of Agony route, classic win condition in Vintage and Legacy that is much loved, by way of going in first getting a Yawgmoth's Will in order to get enough Storm, often by replaying the Beseech the Mirror again from the yard to get 10 Storm naturally in order to combo. So most Beseech, most Oops All Spells decks don't play the Beseech the Mirror package. They're just Undercity Informer, Balustrade Spy, and that's how you win. Usually with one Charbelcher and then a Tinker to find it. They're a bit heavier in blue, usually playing some blue lands as well, but much more focused on just trying to do the graveyard combo. We've got a little bit more of a pivot plan here to avoid the graveyard. Now today we've got a bit of a special one, so I played 2 leagues with this. It went very quickly. This deck has matches that I've realized are very quick. I figured it would be a quicker league than normal, but it was extremely quick. So I played 2 leagues. So there's 7 rounds today. There's 2 that I recorded from the first league, that live recorded, and then a full 5 matches from the second league are also here. So all I've recorded. So you'll see 7 rounds if you watch or skip through this video here. And at the end, I will go through just the second full league I do as far as the results. But the first 2 rounds here will be from the first league here. So a bit of bonus content if you are an Oops fan. 7 rounds here. And again, like and subscribe if you can. Definitely helps me, and I appreciate it. Let's go through some of the cards here. So you'll notice that we don't have any lands in the deck. And how this deck works is you play either Undercity Informer or Balustrade Spy. They do the same thing. You target yourself and mills until you find a land. But we have no lands in our deck. We're playing these double-faced cards that don't count as lands. So both of these cards, Undercity Informer and Balustrade Spy, when you target yourself, will just completely mill you out. No cards in your library, which is what we want. We can still use cards like Agadeem's Awakening, Boggart Trawler, and Fell the Profane to have lands, quote-unquote, that we can play without actually being lands, which is quite nice. And then we've got a whole bunch of artifact mana here. Full 4 Chrome Moxes, full power, Soul Ring, Mana Petal. And that's our mana base here. So with the new modal, double-face cards that we got the last round here with Boggart Trawler, we have just a lot of these cards. So it's not too difficult to build mana bases right now with these kind of cards, but not have any actual lands in your deck. And the idea is you mill your whole library. We've got Thassa's Oracle in the yard. The Narcomoebas, when you mill them, will trigger and they'll go onto the battlefield. And then you use the Dread Return in order to bring back the Thassa's Oracle to play, sacking 3 of the Narcomoebas. When Thassa's Oracle comes into play and you have no cards in your graveyard, you win the game. In addition to that, we've also got Goblin Charbelcher. This also would mill our whole library and just kill our opponent. And this one is nice because it gets around graveyard hate. Say our opponent's got a Deathrite Shaman in play game 1, which, out of bug is definitely something that can happen. We need to be able to beat that, because just milling ourselves out and trying to cast Dread Return won't work. They just respawn and take our Oracle and we lose. So we've got 1 Goblin Charbelcher and then 4 Beseech the Mirrors that can find the Goblin Charbelcher and let us win that way. Which is quite nice. Like I said before, Beseech the Mirror, grabbing Yawgmoth's Will to replay cards from our graveyard, recast Beseech the Mirror later on, finding Tendrils of Agony for 10 Storm. Another way we can win the game here. We're playing Cabal Rituals. Normal Oops doesn't usually play Cabal Ritual, but because we need the black, black, black for Beseech, we're adding that extra bit of acceleration here. Demonic Tutor, just a clearly good tutor here. Dark Ritual, Mana Vault Sol Ring, also fast mana. And then we've got 2 therapies, so this one's fun. When we mill our whole library, these go to the graveyard. And if we've got, let's say, 4 Narcomoebas on the battlefield and then Balustrade Spy, we can then fire off 2 Cabal Therapies to make sure the coast is clear before we cast our Dread Return and win. In addition, then we also have Pact of Negation to counter, Force of Will, Force of Negation, whatever. We don't care about the upkeep cost normally, or hopefully, because we just win right away on the spot. Obviously, the big downside of this card is it only can be used proactively to force through your combo. If your opponent does something crazy on turn 1 and you're on the draw, this card is just useless, but it is very good at just pushing through our combo, which is why we're running it. That covers the main deck. Nothing too crazy here. We're trying to win on turn 1, trying to be a very fast combo deck here, and we have a little bit of a pivot plan with the Beseech here to play around some stuff. Now the sideboard's fun. So there's 2 ways of building an Oops sideboard mainly. One is to play a bunch of things like bounce and graveyard hate and artifact enchantment hate and bounce cards and that kind of stuff, and try and beat your opponent's graveyard hate. You'll see that quite often. The other plan there that I quite like, because this is just fun, I think, is to completely board in 15 cards and go with a completely different plan game 2 that has nothing to do with the graveyard. So our plan on some game 2s, if we're expecting graveyard hate, is to board in this whole package. And then game 3 we get to decide, are we going to keep in this package, or are we going to think that our opponent is then going to board out their graveyard hate, and then maybe we want to board in back our combo. So it's a little bit of a mind game there. But then game 2, we have the option of boarding in all 15 cards, and then we can take out the 4 Undercity Informers. We will take out the 4 Narcomoebas, the Thassa's Oracle, the Pact of Negations. How many was that? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Dread Return 14, and then I was thinking about this. I think trimming one of the Balustrade Spies as well as card number 15. Then you bring in this whole set. We're leaving in 2 spies. They are just a 2/3 flyer, which kind of like a Delvery card, and then you can target yourself, naming Urza Saga and grab an Urza Saga if you want, which we're boarding in. We've also got Barrowgoyf, Legacy staple, and a card that I play in quite a few decks on this channel here. It's quite strong. Can just sort of steamroll a game if your opponent's not prepared for it. They go like mulligan, leyline, you play a Barrowgoyf that can just win. Dauthi Voidwalker doing double duty of graveyard hate, and then, tempo plan here. Unstoppable Slasher is a fun one. This has been played before in Oops lists. It isn't my special tech. I stole this from, I think, Medvedev, who plays Oops in quite a bit of challenges. It's a fun player. This one is a 2/3 for 2/3 Death Touch. When it deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up, and if it dies, it comes back to the battlefield with stun counters on it. So very hard to get rid of, very quick clock. So like, let's say you hit them on the first try, they take 2, got an 18, then they lose half their life. They're on 9 right away, just from 1 hit. Very crazy. So if your opponent mulls too low and isn't prepared for like a creature plan, this can win very quickly. We've got 1 Sheoldred, again another creature, and we can find it with Beseech the Mirror. Necropotence as another way of refueling, playing a mid-game type of thing. You can get it with Beseech, and also it plays pretty nice with Barrowgoyf, gaining life, drawing cards again. The Citadel, like I said, since we're boarding out the whole, combo mill yourself plan, we can board in lands. I'm only opting for 1 Urza Saga as kind of like an aggro-y thing we can do. And then we've got a Bulletus Citadel Tinker package. We can't really cast the Tinker unless we find our Sapphire or Lotus. But we can cast it for free off of the Beseech, sack an artifact, cast the Tinker that way, and then grab our Citadel. Or We have enough mana in this deck just to hardcast the Citadel as well. So that's the deck. We're trying to combo very quickly game 1, figure out if we're going to pivot game 2, and then decide whether we stay with the pivot or go back game 3, depending on the matchup. Alright, let's get into the games now. Alright, we are on the play here. Hopefully we're on the play. Let's see after the lag does its thing. Oh boy. So we can't bargain our card, but we can just hardcast it. I guess. We just hope our opponent's not on a force of will hand there. Black. Dark Ritual. Cycling Street Wraith. Will, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Yawgmoth Will, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Beseech, cast, ooh, come on, lag be nice, Tendrils, and we got there. Alright, so we're against Doomsday. I don't really love our ability to beat Doomsday with our aggro plan here. I don't think that's what we're trying to do here. Maybe the Sheoldred. Oh boy. I assume they bring in ley lines and stuff here. Actually, they didn't see the graveyard stuff because we just tendrils them. The Sheoldred's still pretty good though, isn't it? I don't know what to cut. I don't think they're going to bring in Artifact Hate here, or Graveyard. Let's just give this a shot. Maybe they still bring in the Graveyard Hate because of the Beseech. I don't know. You got any ideas? Post them down below. Sure, we keep this, I guess. We can draw a mana source, we can win on turn 1. Like a fast mana source. Or try and win on turn 1. But this is Doomsday. They can also just win on turn 1. Once upon a time. Okay, I was not expecting that. It's not Doomsday, I guess. Huh. They cycled street. Oh, it's Rootwalla. What are they doing? Oh, crap. Okay. This is the Bazaar, I think we're against the, oh, we're, oh boy, okay. Alright, we're, did not peg that one right. Norod and Chalice there, problems. Alright. Let's see what they got here. So, I need Threshold to give this one +1/+1. They're pretty far from that. They need, so we're going to get hit for 6 next turn. So we have 4 life. We can pay 3. Go to 1. So I think we just do this and we play the tutor and get a Dark Ritual. Yep. Can't do anything on their turn. So we're going to go to 1 here. Alright, we'll pop out our graveyard here. We go Dark Ritual. And we go Balustrade Spy. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. And we got there. So, yep. pretty good win through the No Rod and the Chalice there against the Workshop Bazaar deck that ZS put together. Very cool deck. ZS has a 5.0 video on their channel if you want to check that out. It's highly recommend it. Off to the next round. Alright, we're on the draw for this one. I think we keep this. Just turn 2, and then if that doesn't go well, we can try again for turn 3, probably. Yeah, those Lurrus though, so they probably got a force, but. Turn 1 Nile Spellbomb. Great. Okay. We did our best. We don't actually have an artifact to sack. We can't win through the stupid spell bomb, so. Not sure how we can possibly win this, but I guess we'll go for a little bit. Spell Pierce. Yes. I assume we're just super dead now. I assume we're dead. I don't know how to win this. They just get Lurrus soon, and then they can loop Spellbomb every turn if they have to. Let's try our silly sideboard plan, I guess. That all comes out. What am I missing? Oh, the packs. I think that's the plan. Let's give it a go. Alright. Now I wish I had their combo in. Alright, we got lucky there. They just kind of scooped. I guess we run it back. Alright, that's a pretty strong start. Not bad. Unstoppable Slasher. Alright, let's see how this goes. Curious what's in their hand. The brainstorm, now they're deciding whether or not to keep what they had on top there. I don't want it. Pretty good. Pretty good. I got a frog. Alright, you want to block. I'm not sure why you're doing this. They both have Death Touch. Sure. Wait, what happened? Why do I don't have the counters? Did I screw something up? This should have just returned, right? Should have 2 stun counters on it. What happens? Yeah, my slasher should be absolutely on the table. Maybe it's bugged, I just didn't know about it. Alright. So, hopefully we can win even without our slasher doing slasher things. Yeah, alright, we got there. Gonna try and figure out why slasher didn't do that, though. Alright, we're gonna... on the draw, but we'll keep this one. Harsh flats. No. Are you serious? Okay. We have live draws, but not looking great. Getting hit by Thoughtseize is certainly a problem. Not entirely sure what they're playing over there. Probably is some other Beseech kind of deck. They're actually hard casting a Citadel. Yeah, Gush and Recall. I don't know. Oh, they're also playing Beseech. Okay. Yeah, the man plan's not going to be fast enough here. We just got to try and win. Unfortunately, we were on the draw that game. On the play, we probably would have won that one. Just on turn 1 win with the pack back up. But on the draw, obviously, a lot worse. Force of Will. Got another counterspell. Balustrade Spy. And we got there. Let's go to game 3. Now, again, I still don't think our sideboard plan is great against them. I do think we still just got to jam. We don't have any initial mana. If we find initial black mana, this is a great hand, obviously. But we've got 4, 8, 10, 14, 16 out of 53. It's still low. I think we have to mulligan this, unfortunately. I think we have to keep this. actually. I think we bought him one of the Chrome Moxes, because it's actually a land then. We got Pearl, Mox pitching, Tendrils. Alright, let's see what they got here. Force of Will, Steel Sabotage, Mindbreak Trap. Okay. Alright, so we'll go to their turn. They got a top. Okay. Tendrils. You just go for it here, and they have to force that. Force, pitching, the Steel Sabotage, okay. That's fine. We're going to spin. We've got we only have 2 therapies, so we lost a Narcomoeba. Interesting. Play. Yes. Four. Chaos with bargain. Let's get in there. They're gonna spin their top. Okay. So if we get Undercity Informer or something, that would be spell 2. Then therapy would be 3, and they can misstep that, and they still have trap live. And we drew a stupid Narcomoeba, but we have to get the we gotta get the Charbelcher here. The other things here they can play around. They can misstep 1 therapy. We can't cast the second therapy because we still need 3 creatures because we drew a Narcomoeba. So, all right, they get a freebie here. We can't do anything, we just have to wait and see if they kill us. Recall's a good start. Spinning top's good for us, though. They need a another Steel Sabotage, but they probably only run one or two. Not a card that decks like this will usually run a bunch of, so. Alright, we got that one. Not bad. Alright, we're on the play this time. See if we can make use of that. We'd have to therapy ourselves. I guess that's not the end of the world. No Lurrus. It's a little scary. I think we actually mulligan that. Alright, I regret mulliganing that. They are thinking. What are they thinking about? Alright, we can keep this one. I think we want the other Beseech. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just want to draw. If this doesn't work out, we just want to draw a Alright, well, that's just resolved. Yeah. Targeting us. Yes. 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 See what they're playing. What's the Noxious Revival? They are on shops. They're on the Raker shops. So let's dread return with flashback, targeting Oracle. Alright. Raker shops. I don't think we can beat them with the man plan. I think we just have to hope that they don't have yeah, Unstoppable Slasher is not going to get there versus this deck. I am tempted to board in the Tinker package. Maybe we just go for it. I don't know. I feel like the Tinker Necropotent Citadel package is certainly an option. But we still have the Charbelcher for as like an alternative win, and we have the Tendrils as an alternative win. Think we just throw it back. They go for heavy graveyard hate. Hopefully we can beseech out a Belcher. Maybe they're double queuing. This is taking a while. We could certainly just go, turn one. I don't know. Piece of graveyard hate, that's bad, and win. They play Disruptor Flute now. Turn one Disruptor Flute on I don't know. Dread Return would be pretty big. Did they just not sideboard? I don't understand. Maybe they clicked at the last second there. I mean, we keep that. They do have traps. Now, do we play around trap? Part of me wants to play around trap. Part of me thinks that's dumb. I think we do play around trap. Unless they like just dump their whole hand, I guess, where we actually draw something helpful. Though. City of Traders, Mana Crypt, alright. The Ring. Nettle Cyst, sure. Top. Mana Crypt. I guess we can play around trap this way. Undercity Informer. Did that just go? Oh no, we can't play. Oh boy. I forgot this one sacks. we could be in trouble here. Alright, well we're not. I'll take it. Off to the next round. But yeah, I think just going for it there once we with the Narco in hand was a little risky, but we're playing Oops, we came here to jam, right? Okay. Off the next round. Alright. On to the next round here. We're on the play. See if we can do something with that. I think we keep that. It's a force check hand, but I think we keep it. It has the mana to rebuild there. If our first thing gets forced, then and we have an extra Chrome Mox that we can Beseech away. We still have 4 mana, so even if our first thing gets forced, we still have a bunch of live draws. So I think it's okay. They're definitely not perfect though. Kenzaburo is usually playing some sort of mid-range blue piley thing. Played him a few times on this channel here. Not too distant past here. The ideal scenario is we go for a turn 1 Chrome Mox and they just force it or something thinking we're on a mono white. That's the dream scenario. Took a while to actually find this game. Maybe our opponent's going for a walk or something. Alright, feel free to skip ahead. I'm gonna go get some water and back when they show up. Alright, they're back. Let's see if they get rid of our Chrome Mox. They don't want to get rid of our Chrome Mox. What about our Sapphire, our Soul Ring, our Dark Ritual, and we will try and cancel. No, we're going to try and bargain this away. Now they have force, they blow us out here obviously. And we got there. Alright, we're going to try the silly sideboard plan now. I think in retrospect, I would take out the Citadel and the Tinker and just put in 2 more like threats. The negations come out. The informers come out. The Narcomoebas and Oracle come out. The what are they gonna do? Oh, I feel like I have an extra card in here. One of the Balustrade Spies. So I got the Saga, it's Dothy Voidwalker, a Dread Return. Yep. Alright, let's give this a whirl. Actually, maybe the Dread Return might be better. That could bring back a scary creature kind of thing. I can keep that. The goal here is that they mulligan to Graveyard Hate. Alright, they didn't play Graveyard Hate, so interesting. Maybe they just kill us on turn 1. Didn't even get to see our fun sideboard cards. Okay, that's a problem. Ah, fuck. Oh, they're on shops of some sort. Alright, well that chalice really hurts. Play. Dark Ritual. Unstoppable Slasher. So even if we lose that one, at least we they know that we're boarding into a dumb sideboard plan here. Well, yeah, that chalice is really brutal. And we are locked out of lands. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. So let's see if this connects here. They lose a bunch of life. Presumably, they can just beat us somehow, but they're already at 3, which is pretty funny. That tomb's not looking great at 3 life, but they have lots of mana. That is not a constraint they have. Karn, okay. Worm Coil. Worm Coil would be quite good here. Nettle Cyst. Alright. Oh, it did come back this time. Okay. You got a Chrome Mox. I'm gonna assume they figure out how to beat us from here. All you gotta do is attach Nettle Cyst and we're in a lot of trouble. Alright. I think for game 3 we're gonna go back in on the combo plan, because that plan did absolutely nothing. Take out the Citadel, take out the Tinker, take out the Dothy Voidwalkers, take out the Sheoldred, take out the Barrogoyfs, I don't hate the Necro, but I do think that goes out. Saga, the Citadel, Tinker, yeah, I think that looks about right. Let's see if we can get a city on the play, turn one hand, that'd be good. Watch our opponent's got ley lines for this game somehow. Maybe the pack shouldn't have been in. I think the packs are a mistake, actually. Yeah, I mean, we just go for it, right? Ah, crap. Of course. Alright. We can still win this, but we need to draw a Beseech or like a Black Lotus. We done goofed. Okay, okay, I get it. I get it. Okay. All right. Gonna get it into play in case we want to, for some reason, sack it. We have a few outs here. Just Beseech now, I think. I think just the Tendrils. Okay. Okay. Beseech. I should have held those stupid cards in my hand. Could have just won. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, could have almost just won, but have held those cards. I'm an idiot. I got something big for 4. Okay. Ugh. So we need to cast 6 spells, and if we would have held the Sapphire, we would have won. So 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, we'd have just held the stupid cards. We would have won. That's aggravating. That is aggravating. Yeah, we got to wait. If they use the no, that's brutal. Okay, that is savage. All right, this game is terrible. Absolutely through this game. Absolutely through this game. I think if we draw a black source, we can still win this. That is not gonna do it. was brutal. Alright, I think we have to draw a black source this turn or next turn. Ideally this turn. No! So dumb. Alright, well this was a very silly way to lose the game, but it is what it is. All I had to do was not play out the Sapphire there. Jeez. Oh, that is very, very aggravating. Alright. And I can't believe it, but we died here. Right. Very, very silly. Alright. Next round here. We're on the play. Yeah, we just go for that to turn 1. Alright, we're going to try and game 2 here. Go with the sideboard plan. See how that goes. Alright. Keep that. Graft Digger's Cage, sure. So we will go Mox, Balustrade Spy, Dark Ritual, Stealthy Voidwalker, cast, and then Unstoppable Slasher. And we'll see what they got for us. So let's see if the silly sideboard plan does anything. Oh, it's Moon Stompy. Okay. Interesting. Headliner Scarlet. Yeah, we don't want the city. I think we just want pressure. Apply another slasher. Alright. They get a card there or something. What does this do? Beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card you have face down. You may look at that card and just play it this turn. This is from the Clue set. This is actually Universes Beyond Clue card. Alright, not bad. We picked up the match pretty quickly there, and it was nice playing, getting it with the Unstoppable Slasher package, which was pretty fun. Alright, off to the next round. Alright, let's see what we can do here. We're on the play. Not a good hand, though. That's a turn 1 Informer, I guess. Ugh. They got a Force of Will, you just lose. I don't love this. I think I keep it though. You want to Force the Will my Chrome Mox? You do. Okay. Oh, it's PO now. I want to get this down. And we'll just play this tapped. Alright. Let's see. We have good draws, obviously. All of our, basically any mana is a good draw. And there is quite a bit of mana in this deck, so. But they could just kill us here, so we'll see. Mana, please. Mana, please. It is not mana. That is garbage. That's probably the worst draw in the deck. Okay. Getting mystical. Lion revealed. Alright, we're dead. Why can't we draw Dark Ritual there and win? You got it. They had a land, we're not dead. They had a Beseech, we're dead. Okay. Oof. Alright. Because we have this Tendrils in hand, I'm not going to scoop right away. If they go down like to a very low life total, there is a world where we can just go like Dark Ritual Tendrils or something silly. Alright, they got us there. Let's see about game 2 here. I think their deck's too fast for the sideboard juke here, so we're just gonna resubmit and see how it goes. That is garbage. That is also garbage. I guess I keep this. I don't know. So we really want to find like a, I don't know, Soul Ring or something. Soul Ring, Mana Crypt would be good draws. That's a problem. I don't know. The Soul Guide Lantern's pretty brutal. Pretty close to just scooping now. They can just kind of find Tinker at their leisure. Stock up. Okay. And they've got Tinker here, so I think we can pack this one up, but maybe just wait a turn or something. We need a Beseech. A Beseech could. We need like 2 draws though. There's absolutely nothing in 1 draw that can get us there, so maybe it's time to just pack it up. But let's make sure we actually lose first. I assume that'll get a Tendrils and they'll win. Tendrils, yeah. All right. Okay, nice 3-2 there. 3-2 in our second league with the deck. Excluding the first 2 rounds there that were part of the first league, just adding as bonus content. So pretty happy with that. I think the deck, obviously, you can tell if you watched any of the games here, it's definitely capable of being very powerful. Has some obvious downsides here, and you can mulligan, but that's kind of all the tools you have. Mulliganing and then the sideboard juke, but after that, you're just kind of jamming the cards and hoping it works. But no, definitely very exciting. I had a lot of fun playing these games. Wouldn't have played 2 leagues of it if I didn't think this was a fun thing to be doing. So we played Ruzapaya twice on the normal Beseech deck. This is more of the blue-black traditional Beseech deck that's ebbed and flowed in the meta, but for a little bit was pretty popular. Probably a little bit before Lurrus control got pretty dominant. I expect that it has a pretty rough matchup into Lurrus control, which is why we're not seeing it as much now. But still very strong deck, as you could see. And as I think you'd expect, we won 1 and we lost 1. The second round, they knew what we were on. And I think oops is a lot worse when our opponent knows what we're on here. A lot of the free wins are from opponents keeping hands that aren't particularly good against just a turn 1 all-in combo, and they were prepared for us, so oh well. But definitely showed the power there. And then we had some very quick win here against the red Stompy deck. And the Kenzaburo one was a bit silly. That one was on me. We definitely should have won game 3 there. I just, for some reason, decided to play out some of those artifacts and was not thinking about if I drew Tendrils, I could just naturally Tendrils them and win. So that one's completely on me. So that should have been a match win. But on the flip side, it also, I think, showed the weaknesses of the deck. Chalice of the Void in our deck here is very potent against us. It's extremely hard to win if our opponent goes just turn 1 Chalice on 0 and we can't play any artifacts. So while that, loss was just me being silly there, I think it does illustrate like a core problem of this deck where if your opponents play some, heavy hitting hate pieces, then it can just be too big of a problem and not much you can do. So overall, happy with this. I also like the sideboard juke that won us a few games there. I'm pretty happy with that. I had a lot of fun with the sideboard juke. That's probably my favorite part of this deck, to be honest, is boarding into like unstoppable slashers and going to town there. That's just, I really like the transformational sideboard decks just personally. But yeah, not much else to say. Not convinced it's better than traditional oops. but I think it's definitely an area that's a bit underexplored. I checked over the last year. There's, I think, 3 Goldfish results with Beseech and, Undercity Informer in the same deck. And so it's not like it's never been tried before, but it's not something that's super popular. And I do think it's interesting. Might revisit it in the future, and if you've got any ideas, let me know down below. Or how have you ever tried something like this, or what you'd change? And yeah, throw a like and a subscribe while you're at it. All right, thank you. See you next time.